I grew up in a fairly small Texas town where the Baptist church kind of loomed large on the horizon, and they were the ones who planned all of the big youth group activities that people from the community would send their kids to. And so I have a lot of memories of growing up going to sort of revival type things for elementary through high school age kids, and there were always a ton of people who would get saved in the third or fourth grade, and then they would get saved again a couple years later, and then maybe again after that, or they would rededicate their lives. And there was kind of like this cycle of just keeping returning down to that altar and saying, well, I don't think the saving stuck last time, and I think I need to do it again. I was thinking about that and smiling a little, thinking about what it is that drives that kind of a process. And that's maybe a fairly humorous version of it, but for many of us, we've had major crises of faith where we've wondered, can I possibly be saved? I mean, I've done some stuff, and the stuff that I've done just makes me think that I couldn't possibly have been saved before. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the faithfulness of God. Because when we ask, is it possible that salvation stuck? What we're asking is God only faithful on the human terms that I understand faithfulness by? Listen to how the author of Hebrews speaks about the faithfulness of God. This is Hebrews chapters 10, verses 19 through 23. It says, therefore, brothers and sisters, since we have confidence to enter the holy places by the blood of Jesus, by the new and living way that he opened for us through the curtain, that is, through his flesh, and since we have a great high priest over the house of God, let us draw near with a true heart in full assurance of faith, with our hearts sprinkled clean from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. He who promised is faithful. The promise that our salvation is a sticky salvation is because the God who initiated it and accomplished it and applies it is 100% faithful to his word. We have a hard time relying on the faithfulness of God because it's unlike any other human being that we've ever known. Any human being that you are in relationship with either has or will let you down at some point. And that's just because we're limited. We are not able to see every circumstance or know every fact about the people that we enter into relationship with. But God is not like that. He sees every circumstance. He knows every factor. And when he sets his love on us, he does it in complete faithfulness because he can do exactly what he says he will do. The author of Hebrews is careful to let us know that Jesus Christ is the exact imprint of the nature of God. Jesus Christ is what human faithfulness looks like when we look to his example. So, are you a person who understands that your salvation is sure and is changed by that knowledge? Does understanding the complete faithfulness of God drive in you a desire to look like Christ in your own faithfulness? Are you a person who is faithful to your word when you make a commitment to one of your children or to your spouse or to a coworker or to a roommate or to a parent or to a friend? Do you follow through? Or do you qualify it with 1,000, I will, or I really mean it this time, or don't worry, it'll really happen? God never has to heighten the sense of his commitment to a promise by adding words to it, because he always does exactly what he says he will do. As the children of God, we should attempt to be those who live lives where we do what we say we will do, where we demonstrate a shadow of God's faithfulness to us in the way that we deal with those he places us in relationship with. Think for just a second about who the most faithful human is that you know. Who is the person who has most demonstrated that their word is their bond to you? Just sit for a second and think about how you feel toward that person, the level of trust that you feel and the level of comfort that you enjoy in that relationship. And now think about the other relationships in your life. Who needs to have that level of trust and comfort with you? Who needs to know that your word is your bond? Picture that person and then close in prayer and ask the Lord to help you to walk in integrity toward that person, and not just your words, but in your deeds, so that they might see a picture of Christ.